There we go. Good morning, those of you that are joining us online. We are getting started and we are recording this meeting just so that you are aware because we always share it with our community so that they know. And so we just want you to be aware as well. Let me kind of start my video too. There we go. So we will be recording just so that you are aware of that moving forward. All right, so to get started, it is our first Campus Performance Objective Committee meeting, or also known as Cpoc. And so if you hear Cpoc, that's what it stands for. We have a lot of acronyms in education, so I always make sure to try to make sure you know what they are, because I always tell this story. My husband and our best friends, we were all together, and my best friend, Abby, is a teacher in Northside ISD in San Antonio, and her husband is a minister. And then my husband obviously has been in ministry for a long time too. And so we were all together one weekend, and Abby and I just started talking education. And we said, you know, Cpoc, or we said CIP, or we said IEP, or something like that. And Nolan and Ray were standing there together, and they looked at each other, and Ray goes, Nolan, do you even have a clue what they're saying? And Nolan goes, nope, I have no clue whatsoever. And so it just made me very aware of that, especially like even when we're talking to our community, or we're talking to our parents, or we're talking to anybody, we need to explain what we're talking about, because in education, we do have so many acronyms and shorten things for what we do. And so I want to be very purposeful in our communication so that everyone understands what we're talking about. So when you hear Cpoc, it does mean Campus Performance Objective Committee, and that is what we're meeting about today. So I've been working to try to have team builders though, as we do our Performance Objective Committee, because I just think it's important all the time. And so this is what we're going to do. And if you are one of our business or our parents or community reps, then you can just join a team. It doesn't matter which one, so that you can join. But we're going to get you in your house teams, and this is going to be your challenge. Okay, you're going to get in your house team groups, and then you're going to line up in birthday order without saying a word. Without saying a word. Thank you. And then the first to complete wins some extra house team points. And I think this is kind of big one, so you're going to win 500 points for your house team. Okay, so let's put red team right over here. Yes, Ariana.
I have a clarifying question. By birthday, you mean just like month and day?
Month and day. That's right. No years. No, month and day. Month and day is all you're looking for. So red team, orange team, yellow team, and then blue team, green team, purple team. Okay, so you're not going to start till I say go. And Robbie King was pretty smart before he went over there. Okay. Okay, so show me 5 once you get there. Show me 5 once you get there, because you guys, you have to be silent, and that's hard for y'all. Okay, no voices. Okay, and go. No talking. Miss Tortorici, are you going to lose points for your team? Miss O'Bara? I think this is the quietest I've ever heard y'all, like ever. And when you're the first one, show 5 all the way so I can see who the first one is to win. It looks like this is my green team. They have their hands up. Oh, blue. Come on. We're all I will get more points then. This is what orange team. So first is green, second is orange, and then third is purple. Those first, third. Oh, y'all did it, you guys. See how that was crazy. Y'all did it. All right, so get you some fun things to just build community, get you in your house teams. So extra 500 for green team, and then 400 for orange team, and 300 for purple team. All right, so quickly move back so that we can move into more of our meeting. All right. So thank you for taking part in that. Some of y'all were very crafty and creative. You actually wrote it on a piece of paper and took it with you. Or Mr. King had his iPad and had it written on his iPad. So they got creative. So again, just a fun thing to do. It's always good to do those types of things. We've talked about that because one, it creates alignment in our house teams. It creates alignment vertically. It creates alignment at our grade level. So we will do multiple of those throughout the year. And then also for our committee, we have new people on this committee, so we want them to take part as well. So today, here is our agenda for today for our Cpoc meeting, and we do have quite a bit to cover. We're going to talk about our introductions because our committee of Cpoc is not just us here on campus. We do involve community members as well as business partners, as well as parents, and then district as well. So some of them are joining us online because I've already seen them. We do offer it online in case they can't make it to the building. In addition to that, we also record it because I always feel like the more we can share with our community, the better we are. And so I do actually put it, I have it linked. I think it's planning to be linked in the FTP, not the FTP, but in the newsletter in October. If it's not there, we also send it out via Remind as well in School Messenger. So we're going to go over objectives, then we'll introductions, then we'll go over our meeting objective. We'll talk about the celebrations that we have, what the purpose of the Cpoc is. We'll also talk about our campus improvement plan, which will also be, you'll hear called the CIP, the campus improvement plan, and the data that we do have that we have from last year that we'll just review. We'll talk about some campus items and then look at the calendar and then also offer the opportunity for any input or feedback or questions that you might have. So moving forward into our introductions, we do have some new members this year joining us. Our parent reps for this year is Jessica Adame, Cynthia Coburn, Juliana Martinez, Ana Valeria Bowman, and Karen Lara. So they are, and I know that Miss Lara is here today. I was going to say she's back over there. And I know we've got some other parents joining us online because I've seen them there. Then we have two business reps, Jordan Weaver, and he's online. I know I saw him. He's actually the pastor of the church that has adopted us. One of the pastors, so he is joining us. And then Mr. Juan Carlos back here is also a business rep that has joined us this year. And I've heard he has an amazing product, y'all, of elote and then also meganadas. Am I right there? Okay, and y'all, I'm a big fan of those, so I got to go check it out. Mr. Greenwald told me it's a great product, so thank you for being part of that. Miss Billups is not able to join us this year. She's been on our campus performance objective committee for several years as one of our community reps. And so she is a great supporter of Hoover and is excited to be a part again this year. She just was not able to be here today due to an appointment that she has, but I can guarantee you she will watch the recording. That's another reason I do the recording as well. We are still looking for at least one more community rep. And so I want to challenge you that if you know of any family members or anybody in our community, we do need one more community rep. The thing is with community reps, so they cannot have kids inside their schools. So you're more looking at some of our retired individuals like Miss Phillips. I don't know if she still works, but she's one of that. She doesn't have kids in school. So we're looking, it can even be a grandparent, anything like that. But we do need some more community reps. And you guys, we can have more of these. If y'all have more contacts, we are all, honestly, I would love for our committee to be huge. I really would, because I think that helps get our vision and mission out to the community. And then it builds those partnerships, which I think are so important. So if you have people, or even if you reach out to your families, because I know I've sent it out via Remind, but if you reach out to your families and say, hey, we're still in need of this, do you have anybody? That would be very beneficial. So please help us do that. And then we do also have a district rep, Tamika Presley. She actually works in, she actually helps with attendance in student services office. So she is there and she has joined us, and she is online as well today. She had a prior commitment. Okay, so let's go forward. Then we also, though, we do have all of our staff take part in Cpoc because we do think it's really important. All of our teachers are aware, but they also had to vote on specific representatives for each grade level. And so these are our specific representatives that will actually be on the part of the Cpoc plan, part of our CIP. So that they have that, but we do make sure everybody takes part because we think the information is so important. It has been always the expectation here at Hoover that everybody takes part so that we're all aware. Okay, moving on. The meeting objectives are this. One, we want everyone to acquire knowledge of the purpose of Hoover's Campus Performance Objective Committee. We also want to examine Hoover's end-of-year data and the campus improvement plan. And then we also want to discuss campus items and upcoming calendar events, and then also capture committee input, feedback, and questions. So those are our overall objectives of what we want to accomplish today. So when we're moving forward, we want to start with celebrations. And you know, I always tell there is always something to celebrate, Hoover. And we need to toot our own horn because maybe nobody else is going to, but we want to make sure that we do. Because I just think that we need to have a community of celebrating. I just think there are always good things to find. There's always awesome moments to find and to celebrate. And so I think that that affects our mindset and our perspective. And so I always want to start out with celebration. So we welcomed a lot of new staff, not a ton, actually less than we've done in the past, but we did do that in August. And so we have our lead mentors, which is Melissa Miller and Katie Ayers, and they did a great job doing that luncheon. And I know that they've already been working with our new teachers or our new staff too, to make sure that if they're not necessarily a new teacher, but new to Hoover, so that they kind of get acclimated into Hoover, but then also our new teachers helping them like with goal setting and different things like that that affect them. Other celebrations, we actually also have been continuing our partnership with Joel, and we did what we called a PBIS reboot. For those of you that are new into maybe education or to the school or into our committee, PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Intervention System. Did I get that right? Supports and intervention supports. I had to ask my behavior coach because sometimes all the acronyms get mixed up in my brain. But it is basically, it's our RISE cache and our RISE matrix. And so what we did with PBIS and with Joel was to really create common language across both campuses to really work on that alignment. Ours has been really going well. In fact, we didn't make a lot of changes. We've just changed a few words in our matrix, but I know that Joel was completely redoing theirs for the alignment piece. And so we're super excited. We had a great turnout and great stuff from that. And I got great feedback even from Miss Criswell as well. We also had a great Meet the Teacher event, and then we also had a lot of first day volunteers. I think we ended up with about 15 to 20. Is that right for first day volunteers? Yeah, about 15 to 20 between parents and between district supports. We ended up with about 15 to 20 first day volunteers. And you guys, that's really big for us because we have all littles. And so having that extra support is huge. And I think we ended up with about 8 parents. So that was a really good thing that we had. And then also district, they sent several, and some even stayed the whole day, which was nice to be able to have that help with transportation and different things like that. Other celebrations, y'all, though, we have great community partners in our districts, and Kroger actually collected, I believe, like 60 packs of school supplies that they donated to us, and Joel got some as well. And obviously we didn't keep them in the packs because we just break it up so that as teachers need it, but they have it. But they did do that, Kroger. And we do have, like, I know we had several backpacks that were donated. So we have great partnerships in the district. So we're super excited about that. Our district's really actually known for that. So that's a big thing. And then also we had a great day of planning with Joel. You know, again, we're not working just on the alignment behaviorally, but also the alignment curriculum wise. And we have been doing that for the last year. Actually all along, but COVID, you know, kind of put some things back. And so we've been working to get back where we needed to be. And so they did have a great planning day with reading language arts as well as with math science moving forward. And then we did do our first Friday last week. For those of you that aren't here at Hoover all the time, Fridays are when we go around and we celebrate and we do who knows what. We normally play music all the way through the hallways. The kids are dancing and everybody thinks it's this complete disruption. It really is not. The kids are totally used to it. And so because then we started though Fridays during COVID because it was just a way to keep teacher morale up during a hard time. But it's something we've kept. We don't do it every Friday now like we used to do it. We do it about once a month. But it is always a fun time with music, and the teachers got ice cream sandwiches last week because life is better with ice cream. So, and then also we're super excited because professional learning is continuing. We have 4 teachers that are actually taking part in the Teacher Leadership Institute, which is put on by the Principal's Visioning Institute, which is the organization that we received our Transforming Learning designation in 2020. So I've been partners with them since about 2015. I'm still on the design team. And so I've gone through PI 1 and PI 2.0. And then Melinda has been through API. Christy is going through API right now. And then with this year is the first year for teachers. And so we do have 4 teachers that are actually in the very first cohort of this. And our district is one of the districts they're piloting in. So super excited about that because it's really good. And then we also though have great instruction that's taking place. We've already been in classrooms. There's great things going on. If you're a parent or a community member or business rep, we have new curriculum this year. And so it's been a big learning. I've said in plannings and the teachers are going, wait, I'm not getting this in and I'm not getting this in and whatever. But you guys, they still have good instruction and we're working to navigate and to learn the new curriculum. Our instructional specialists have been making sure that they're aware and putting in place, and the APs and I are in plannings to make sure we can support how we need to, but great things are happening in the classroom, and that's really important. And so these are just a couple of pictures I was able to pull up. All right, so those are our celebrations. Now moving forward though, we want to talk about what is the purpose of a Cpoc or a Campus Performance Objective Committee. The overall purpose of a Campus Performance Objective Committee is to work together as a campus with parents and community members to bring about performance success for Hoover. That's what it's all about. It is about us bringing in all voices to be heard and to get the input so that we can grow and help our heroes be successful. And so that's one reason it's so important that we have a great partnership. That's the reason I also, though, make sure and share this information as much as I can, because there are great things happening here and we want to make sure our community is aware of that. But then we also want to hear the voice of our community when we can grow and become better, because there's always areas we can grow in. Okay, then I wanted to kind of look at data, and we're just going to kind of go through this real quick and it will be shared out again so that you can see it. But this is our end of year data, and it was actually presented at our May Cpoc meeting that we had, because we don't have our data yet. We are still in the process of gathering data right now. In fact, our campus improvement plan, or our CIP, is not completed yet either, again, because we are working on data and getting that together. So as you can see, though, this was our kinder data. This is the beginning of year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year, and then our first and second grade. And you can see kinder went up middle of the year, and then we went down a little bit. Still not bad. We still were even with where we started, but that's kind of sometimes happens. But then you can look at first grade and second grade, both all ended up higher than they had been in the years at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, or middle of the year. So these were the DPM scores. Okay, then moving forward, then we're looking at IRL scores, and IRLs are independent reading levels. They have become a bad word. We do not do independent reading levels anymore because of the changes in our curriculum. So you will not ever hear us say independent reading levels anymore. Now we will be looking at MAP data, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the campus improvement plan. But if you look at what we did with IRLs, which was independent reading levels, you can see that again, first and second grade either stayed the same or went up for middle of the year. Again, kinder, we went down, but again, we expect a lot from kinder. I mean, we expect them to be reading by the time they leave kindergarten. And so that is a big jump. So again, but we still are looking at the places of how far we were. We were still up in the 70 range up here in kindergarten, and then down here. But again, we're looking at how we made growth, because that's what we celebrate, is our growth. Okay, then though, looking at this is our kindergarten and first grade at beginning of year and middle of year DPM passing scores for math. Again, we didn't have, when we did our data here, we didn't have end of year yet. And so this is what we were looking at, but you can see kindergarten went from 76 to 95, and our target was 95. So they met our target, because targets are what we said that's what we're shooting towards. That's the goal we're looking to reach. And so they did meet our target. Then in first grade, they started at 76, and then they went to 79, but then their target was 95. Okay, they didn't meet their target, but they did have growth, and that's what we celebrate. But you also need to keep in mind too, that when we look at our data, it's not necessarily comparing apples to oranges, because this group of that we started with, as far as the target goes, this is what those kids that were first graders ended at in their kindergarten year. So we're looking at last year's kindergartners compared to like what the year before did when we set our targets. Same thing with first grade. So our first graders going in, yes, they completed 95%, but it jumps in first grade. So they didn't have the growth that we needed, but they still had growth. But we're looking still, though, this is what the first graders the year before had done that we set the target on. So it's different kids that we're looking at, even though that's what we're doing. So I just want to be clear on that as you're moving forward and looking into it. Then though, we're looking at though, we are grouped by clusters, and by clusters, what we're doing is we actually are similar schools with similar demographics, and that we're looked at. And so our people in our cluster, and actually we have one more this year. We have Metcalf, we have Emmett, McPhee, and MRob. But then we also have Brosnahan. Brosnahan just opened this year, and they are in our cluster as well. So this year we will be able to see comparisons with them also. But as you can see, Hoover is the blue. And in beginning of the year, we were in comparable ranges with everybody else. But then if you look at middle of the year, we went up and we were the top of the cluster. So you guys did something to celebrate. Again, we're still very comparable. It shows that our clusters are our groups very well, but we're going to celebrate, y'all. We are the top of the cluster middle of the year in kindergarten math data. That's something to celebrate. Then looking at first grade, Again, we have Hoover, Metcalf, Emmett, McPhee, and MROB. And when you look at it again, we started at 76. Then we went to 79. We weren't at the top, but we made growth. And then also, we still weren't the bottom of the cluster. We were right smack dab in the middle of where we're supposed to be, showing again that we're keeping up with those that are around us. Then when we look at our checkpoints in second grade, because they do checkpoints, we can look at the Hoover is the blue, the red is the district, the yellow is our target. Well, you can see on all our targets, y'all, we surpassed all our targets every year. So that's good. We surpassed them. But then we also have to look at too, we did go up 73, 60. This is November one is always a hard one, always. And then we went back up to 72, 68, 79. Then we ended the year in April and a checkpoint at 84% in second grade. So again, we're celebrating that growth and what they're doing and what is happening. Then this is our checkpoint passing rates again by cluster for second grade that you can see. Again, we are the blue, or the blue is districts. We are actually red on this one. And so again, you can see here, we're like second in the cluster. You know, even here, even though we went down, we were still right in line with everything. So you can look at it. We weren't, district was 60, but like one of our counterparts got 24% and we were 49. So we were still up where we should be with our cluster. Same thing over here and over here. So we can celebrate that we're right where we need to be. And even sometimes we saw, we were even close to what the district passing rate was 68 and we had 61. So that you guys, we're making growth, and you guys, we all know that COVID put us back on and had a lot of learning loss. And so we've had to really work to recover, and we are on a good path to being able to recover that learning loss that took place. Then we also have to consider discipline data, because discipline does affect instruction. And so we have to look at it. And as you can look, you can see the comparison from 2018 to 2022. In 2018, we had 481 referrals. And then we went down to 137, then 145, then 160, and then 124. That was 22, 23. And then our end of year totals last year was 124. Or no, that's 2020. I'm sorry. I'm looking. Yeah, that's 2022, 23. So that's last year. So the comparison, you guys, we have gone down in our discipline referrals. And I truly believe it's because we have an effective PBI's team that puts forth what is needed as far as to really reinforce. We also have really good behavior coaches that can go in and help support as well. We've learned how to de-escalate behaviors. That's something we're always growing on. But also a lot of times what we find out is a lot of things that are driving this is maybe one or two students too. It's normally a handful that are driving our referrals. But you can see though that we have made growth in that. Then though, when we look at our grade level breakdown, August to May, you can tell that we have it kind of goes back and forth where we go, but we're looking at 21 and 22. So you could see in kinder, our behavior went down last year quite a bit from the year before. But if we had behaviors here, notice they kind of carried over here. But again, those are the same kids that have moved up to first grade. But then you can also see in second grade, we went down as well. And again, I can tell you with this first grade data, knowing the kids that I know, it was only a few kids that were driving the data. And so that's the thing you also have to consider. You have to consider all factors when you're looking at data. Then though, our discipline data, these are our 4 areas that are normally our highest infractions: physical contact with an adult, physical contact, or with a peer, I think physical contact with an adult, language and gestures, and then also a nuance of behavior. Just that's kind of like just those aggravating things that sometimes kids do. Even though you tell them, please stop, they keep on, please stop, keep on. I have a 16-year-old, she does it all the time. So I get that. Okay, so we have that. And then we're moving on. So that's kind of our data in a nutshell, so that you have an overall of how we ended the year last year. You guys, there are lots of things in there to celebrate. Obviously, do we have areas we can grow? Absolutely, we can always grow, but there are lots of areas to celebrate in there that we can share. But then we move into, because all of that data then drives our campus improvement plan, or our CIP. Our CIP is still in the works of being created because, again, we do have to have data from the beginning of the year to move into it. I also know that yesterday I met with Dr. Ashley Claiborne, and we talked about our targets, because we do set those targets like we talked about earlier. And last year, our targets, like for reading, was our independent reading levels. Well, with the changes in curriculum, we're not doing independent reading levels because of the way we're doing reading now. So we had to figure out something else to look at. And so what we will be looking at, and I know we've been talking about it in plannings, is our MAP testing that is coming up. And map testing will actually, it will test the kids beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year. And what it does at the beginning of the year, and I'll at our next meeting, I'll have it to be able to show you because I'll have our targets set out. But at the beginning of the year, when we test our kids, it then projects what growth they should make. So let's say that we've got a kid that's at 170 and it projects that it should make a 14-point growth. So they should get to 184 at the end of the year. But then like if you get to the end, because of the example that we talked about yesterday, they actually made a 20-point growth instead of a 14-point growth. And so again, that's what we're going to be looking at as that growth in that MAP data. That's the reason we've been talking about in planning for the last couple of days, that MAP is our star. We don't take the STAR test because our kids aren't in that grade, but our MAP is our star. So that's the reason we've been talking about how much we need to do things with fidelity, how we need to make sure that kids are able to test on their computers, have headphones, those types of things, and been working to have all of those things in place because it is so important. But in order to do that, the targets, though, we have to look at 4 different goals that are set up in our CIP every year. We have one that is all about academic achievement. That is the majority of everything, is the academic achievement. But we also consider our safe and healthy learning environment with our safety, our discipline. So that's where we put in discipline data. That's also where we put in like all the drills that we do, that kind of stuff that goes in there. Then also though we look at human capital, because as a district, we are committed to hiring and retaining highly qualified individuals. And so because of that, that is one thing. And so one thing that we do is that we provide like professional development, like I shared earlier. But like I know this year, last year, we gave the incentive to teachers for them to continue growth, that if they met a certain criteria, and they're actually working to get the forms in right now with their professional development record, that they can earn $50 for them to spend for their classroom alone. And we're doing that again this year. And so that's again one way that we help work to retain highly qualified individuals. Again, that's another reason we do Fridays too. Again, to keep up that morale, to keep encouraging teachers to do a job that is hard. So that we can keep them. And so those are different things that we do. But then we also have goal number 4, which is our family and community engagement piece. And that's where like next week we have our Title I, or our Cookie Connection, which is our Title I meeting, as well as our curriculum nights. We also have book fair family night that's coming up. We have Hero Dads kickoff that's coming up. We have lots of night events that we offer for parents, but then we also are planning to do things during the day as well. And we're also kicking off our volunteer program next week as well. So all of that goes into like our goal number 4 that we're looking at with the parent and family engagement. Okay, so one thing though that does drive our CIP though is our title budget and the funds that we receive from that. And I'm going to talk about this more next week in our Title I or our Cookie Connection, which is when parents come and they're able to learn what it means to be a campus that receives title funding. But I just kind of wanted to walk y'all through of things that we spend our budget on or that are allotted this year so that you are aware moving forward. This year we made a commitment that we are spending more on people than we are on programs and stuff. As a campus 7 years in, we got a lot of stuff. And so we obviously are still we still buy stuff, but that's not our priority. It's more now people. We have established things that we now are able to do people. We do right now have 3 staff salaries that are paid with our title funds. We have 1 more allotted. We just haven't found that person yet. So the goal is to still find 1 more support staff with our title funds. We also though have temporary workers. Our temporary workers are mainly paid with ESSER funds right now, but we do have to also supplement with title funds to be able to have them here as long as they are here. So basically with our 4 temporary workers, we have 2 that are allotted for reading intervention and then 2 that are allotted for math. Our reading have already started. They've actually been helping us do math testing and M-class testing, but our math ones won't start till later until we get more data. We also do field trips with title funds. We pay for like buses that way. We also though do buy one, get one book fair where all of our kids last year got 2 books to take home. That all comes from title funds. That's actually one of our family things that we're able to do because since we're sending it home, it's considered a family engagement piece. We also do professional development for staff. We do instructional nights and programs. We work as much as we can to try to provide teacher wish list. That's also where that $50 comes from for the classrooms with the professional development. We also take care of daily instructional materials, PBIS items. Mother Goose is coming for our pre-K and kinder. And then also we have a storyteller that does come, and she's actually coming for 7 weeks. Is that about right? 7 weeks, and she's doing a night event as well for us as well. So those are just a few things that are covered to give you an idea. We do again have our Cookie Connection that is upcoming next week. It is all about on Tuesday, what we do, we have found that working to tie events together makes it more impactful and effective for our community. And so because of that, we will do our cookie connection with parents in here. Actually, I think we're going to do the cafeteria because we're afraid we might be too crowded in here. So we're going to do in the cafeteria. We've already requested even machines so that we can have translation for our Spanish speaking families. And we're also working on the presentation for that. But with that, we will do our Title I and our volunteer meeting. We do have our volunteer handbook that we put in place and kicked off last year that we will do again this year. And we do have it in English and Spanish for all of our families to be able to meet all needs. And then from 6 to 6:30, they will move into the classrooms with the teachers to go over what they're learning, what kids will be learning this school year. And then we do also offer a second opportunity for families to take part in that cookie connection with what it means to be a Title I or to receive Title I funding, and then also our volunteer meeting. So that is happening next week. And actually we're earlier having that this year, which I'm super excited because normally it's been October that we've done it. And the 1st of October. So I'm excited that we're able to do it towards the last of September and really get it kicked off. Then this is kind of our overview of events. This is what we share in our newsletter. It's also what we share on social media of things that are happening. Obviously, we've already made it through part of September. What we do have upcoming is next week, we have teacher work day on Monday, which is also a student holiday. It's our first one of the year. Then we have our parent readers on Tuesday. So teachers, if you haven't been communicating with your parent readers, please make sure that you do, because we do need to get those names to the front, because we even want our parent readers to sign up as volunteers. Because this is the thing, when you talk to parents about volunteering, when they get 100 hours and they log them, they get invited to like this huge district thing. And it is a super nice luncheon. I've had the opportunity to sing at it a few times, 2 or 3 times. And so it is really like a huge event that they go and they celebrate the volunteers. They have student performers. I mean, and you guys, the talent in our district is phenomenal. And so it is really a good, fun event to get our volunteers to. And so that's an incentive that we can share with our volunteers, because you guys, and then we do something here as well. And so, but the district one, y'all, it is like, it's top notch. Miss Laura's back there going, it is top notch, y'all. So we want to try to get as many of our parents. Last year we had a larger amount than we've had since COVID. And y'all, before COVID, we had like 50 volunteers. So like we were doing good. So we got to get back up there again, y'all. But the parent readers does count towards those hours, but we have to get them signed up as volunteers. So if they're not signed up already, next week we will be presenting that in our presentation so that they can come and do that as well. And I will still send that. I'm still planning to send the cookie connection presentation out as well, which will walk them through volunteers also. And our volunteer handbook right now is on our webpage as well under VIPS. I haven't got the Spanish one up yet, but the English one is up there as well. Then we also have our curriculum night, Title I volunteer meeting. We have Title I volunteer meeting on 9:30. Then Friday is our first house team meeting. And we have invited 2nd grade parents to come take part if they would choose to. And again, we will continue to work our way down with every grade level. We get to come twice this year. Since we've got the systems down and in place, we've got that. And you do get extra points for your house team for all the parents that you have come. Just saying. Because, you know, we're wrapping up September. Who will be the winner? I don't know. We will see. And then also we have Rock Your School Day. And for community members and parents and business people, what Rock Your School Day is, it is a day that we commit to as a school for really going outside the box and really upping engagement on our campus. Like we'll have room transformations. I've seen the hallways turned into like a campground before, where they're fishing for sight words in like this river that they've created. I've seen people, I've done a pirate video for Rock Your School Day before. And so it's really, we find that a lot of times at Rock Your School Day, we don't really have any behavior issues because they're so engaged. But that's something we're committed to all the time normally anyway. It's just, this is a day that we are committed to it as a campus. Then in October, we do have Hero Dad kickoff. We have our fall book fair. We do have a teacher work day. We have our book fair family night and a fall instruction night. Again, we find when we work and pull them together, we have a bigger turnout. We also have House Team Friday. We have Red Ribbon Week. We do have Picture Day, and I know Cherie and I've talked for Red Ribbon Week. We know Picture Day falls in there, so we make that a part of Red Ribbon Week, that like you're dressing in your best and ready to smile and say cheese. So that'll be there. We also though have our Storybook Character Day, you guys, and that's one of my favorite days of the year, of encouraging all kids to dress up as their favorite storybook character. And last year, remember, we've really been focusing on vocabulary because we do have so many at-risk students as well as second language learners, that vocabulary is such a big thing here, and building that up with students. So we did encourage them to even have a vocabulary word from their book. And then and also our parent readers and Hallow Read Day. And for those of you that may not know, Hallow Read Day is just a day where the teachers sign up for administrative team members to come in and read to their class just as a special treat that day, so that we can help support and so that the kids know us too. I think it would make me really sad if the kids didn't know who I was. And so I'm so excited that they come in and they go, "Good morning, Dr. Mrs. Rice." You know, so I don't ever know what I'm going to. Sometimes it's Mrs. Rice, sometimes it's Dr. Rice, sometimes it's Dr. Mrs. Rice, and sometimes it may be one of the other 18 members' names that I'm called too. But again, we want them to know who we are, so we do those types of things and really work to get in the classroom. All right, so that was a lot of information, but your feedback is very important to everything. We're almost done, and we've got, and it's 8:21, so it's right on time. But if you have questions, or if you want to offer feedback or input on our meetings, or even input on Title Ones, there is this form that is set up that you can scan, and I did check to make sure it works. I've been working on my QR codes. Sometimes they have not worked. This one should work. But provide input for this. But before we close, are there any questions about all the information that we've covered? I try to be really clear. Yes, Sarah.
For a community member for the Cpoc committee, if their kid was in this community, would they have to be zoned to like our school?
Well, community members can't have anybody in the
I know,
schools,
I'm saying,
but like if it's a parent or a business rep.
Yeah, if it was a business rep or a parent.
No,
would they have to be
a
zoned
parent
here?
has to be zoned here,
Okay.
but a business rep can just have a business in the community, and still be a part of our Cpoc. Yeah, because I know like Pastor Weaver, I know specifically, I think his kids go to KE, but yeah, but their business, like their church is here in our area. So a business rep can have just a business in the area. And then a community rep, though, we just want them living in our area and not have kids in school. Again, a lot of times retired individuals, or people who just don't have kids, maybe their kids are grown, but they still live in here. They may still be working, but they don't have kids that are in school. Because y'all, before too long, I'll be one that doesn't have a kid in school inside there. That's kind of really weird a little bit, but I mean, so it's just kind of looking at that there. Okay, any other questions? Somebody else had a question? Yes.
Okay, I received all of the parent readers. If you have any, please send them to me, because I send them an email so they can get approved. So when they do come, that builds up our VIPs so they can earn their hours.
Yes, because we want to earn those hours. We want to get them to that VIPs and bid, because y'all, it is so nice. And I would love to have like I would love to have 2 tables, if not more. You know, 2 tables, I think 16.
Yeah.
We would love to have more. We would love to just have balloons and signs and everything. Get our people there sitting down. We would love that. We want to be able to celebrate our volunteers. So any other questions real quick? Also, the one thing about parent readers, though, I know the question has come up if they can bring younger siblings. The answer is no, y'all. We can't, because they've got to be able to focus and concentrate on reading to the kids in the class. So we cannot have younger siblings. We do allow younger siblings, like for when we do our special lunch visitor days and when we do like our end of year parties and our winter fest. Obviously, they can't take part in the games, but they still can attend on those. But when we have events that are in the classroom, we have to ask for, and it's not a party day, we have to make sure that we are able to focus still on the instruction. And it definitely can't be other students at another campus inside there, because that goes against actually district policy. Okay, any other questions? All right, we covered a lot of information. Make sure you give your feedback and have a great day. Go forth and conquer. It's going to be another terrific Thirst for Knowledge Thursday at Hoover. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. I will be sending out this video as well as the presentation. But again, thank you for taking part and have a great day.